How do you learn vocabulary and not forget it? Let me show you. Hello there, my friend. This is Keith from the Keith Speaking Academy. So listen, how do you learn vocabulary? Maybe you just memorize lots of new words. Maybe you repeat and recite words. Maybe you expose yourself by listening and reading to lots of English. All of that is really good, but it's not enough. And actually learning vocabulary, there is a very simple way to do it. And that is discover, practice, and review. That's all you need. Great. What? Oh, you want more? Okay. So this discover, practice, and review it's actually not a line. It's more of a circle, right? Discover, practice, and review. Some people think language learning and vocabulary learning is a line that you go along and you get better. In fact, some people think it's a bit like shopping. Do you know, in a course book, you have a unit on food, a unit on sports, a unit on clothes. So some people think, well, that's a bit like shopping. So they go to the food shop and they buy different items, the vocabulary, put it in the bag. They go to the sports shop, buy some shoes, some different items in the bag. They go to the clothes shop and buy the items and put them in the bag and think, great, I've gone to all these shops or units in my book and I've got lots of vocabulary. Great. But the vocabulary is in your bag, not in your head. That is the problem. And it's because vocabulary is not just a line where you collect all the words. The vocabulary that you learn, this circle of discover, practice, and review for each word or vocabulary, actually means you've got lots of these little circles developing as you're learning. They're getting bigger, they're bouncing, they're changing, sometimes they're crashing, sometimes they're overlapping. This discover, practice, and review. So listen, let me explain to you these 3 points and how they can help you learn vocabulary effectively so you don't forget it. Okay, discover. This is discovering new words. Okay, so maybe you find or discover a new word in a story you're reading, in a video you're watching, or a podcast you're listening to. And then you may guess the meaning or go to a dictionary and check. So you'll see maybe more examples of the word and you discover its personality. What do I mean by personality? I mean, first of all, is it a noun, a verb, an adverb, an adjective? What does it sound like? The pronunciation. Which friends does it have? So in the example, you'll see a collocation, at least one collocation, the words that go together with this word. So you're discovering all of these aspects of the word. What does this mean for you? It means it's really important to learn vocabulary in context so you can get this information, especially collocations, and you know better how to use the word. Secondly, it's important you know how to use a dictionary because sometimes you can't guess the meaning and you have to check. And the dictionary can help you get the phonetic script and other examples. I think learning vocabulary is a bit like being a detective, right? When you come across a new word, you have to think, is it important? Is it worth finding out more? If the word, you can guess the meaning, it's not very common, you can just let it go. But if you see a word you don't know, but it keeps coming up again and again and you don't know the word, then it's time to investigate. Get your Sherlock Holmes hat on and investigate the word, right? Find out the meaning, the pronunciation, all the things that I've mentioned. As a minimum, I would say if a word is important, make sure you know one meaning. There will be many, but just get the main one you need for the moment. The word form, noun, verb, adjective, adverb, the pronunciation, and one collocation. And that's enough. Over time, do you remember those little circles? They will grow and you'll learn more about the word over time. Don't rush it. Language learning is a marathon, right? Not a sprint. Let's take an example, right? And I'll show you through the dictionary what we might do. Imagine I've been reading a book and this sentence came up. Jane thought the jumper was too expensive, so she decided to shop around. Okay, I can guess more or less the meaning, and I know the word shop as a noun, but here I can see it's a verb. So I just go into the Cambridge Dictionary to check. Now, I say the Cambridge Dictionary, you can use Collins, Merriam-Webster, they're all good, right? The Oxford Learner's Dictionary is good. Shop comes up as a noun, I knew that, but it's also a verb, right? To buy things in shops. And interesting, the examples, I like to shop at secondhand shops. I'm shopping for food. Okay, so I'm learning a bit more. I'll make a note. Shop for, that's good to know, but I want shop around. So that's a phrasal verb, right? So I can just actually search for, because most dictionaries have phrasal verbs as an entry, shop around to compare the price and quality of the same or similar object in different shops. So it's comparing the prices. Great, got it. Okay, I've got the pronunciation, which I can paste and copy. I can even listen to it here. It's great. So now I'm building up all this information like a criminal record on this word, right? That's it, the discover process. The second step, practice. And this is where you try to use the words, right? I mean, it's all well and good having all these new words in your book and your bag, but you need to practice them to learn them more deeply. Now, you can practice through writing, through speaking, through just repeating words, or better still, all of the above, all of those, right? Now, there's a very simple technique that I show in my course, my online course, which is the Speaking Success System, which is where you change different parts of a sentence. So let's take an example, right? For example, I am shopping around for a new jumper. Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you to repeat that, but to change the noun, okay, to a new noun. I'll show you a picture and then you change the word, change the noun. I'm shopping around for a new jumper. Change new jumper to this. I'm shopping around for a new phone. Great. Now change to this. I'm shopping around for a new car. Excellent. Now change the tense to the past tense. I was shopping around for a new car. Or it could be, I shopped around for a new car, right? Change to the future. I will shop around for a new car. Or I'm going to shop around for a new car. Could even say, I will be shopping around for a new car next week. Okay? Finally, you could change the person. Instead of saying, I like to shop around, what about she? She likes to shop around. Okay? So through this kind of changing different words, vocabulary, and different tenses, you're practicing and building your flexibility. And then finally, you could just make up little stories or make up your own sentences which are true for you, right? Something that is true for you. I actually hate shopping around, but my wife always shops around when we go to buy something. It's absolutely true. Saying things that are true for you make the language more personal and deeper. Your learning is deeper. So what does this mean for you? Practice, practice, practice. That's what it means for you. If you're on your own, you can practice like this, repeating. If you're, I don't know, with other people or have friends you can practice with in conversation, you can do it, or just writing as well. Or all of the above. Let's move on. Okay, part 3 is review. And this basically means getting some kind of feedback so you deepen your understanding of the word. There are maybe 2 main ways to get feedback on your practice of the word and your understanding of the word. One is the classic, a teacher or another student corrects you when you make a mistake, right? You say, oh, she shop around for new clothes. And the teacher says, no, she shops around. Oh, right, got it, right? So that's one way of getting feedback. You can get feedback from a teacher. Actually, you can also get feedback from real life. I think this is quite funny. Talking about the classroom is not real life. Real life is out in the world. No, but in the classroom, I'm still alive. Yes, but it's not real life. But when you're out in the real world, okay, the other real world, I know many of you are living in English-speaking countries, and when you're out practicing language, you say something, and the reaction of the other person, the native English speaker, makes you think, oh, something's not right. And you often learn from that experience, right? For example, shop around. Maybe you go to a shop, you speak to the shop assistant and you say something like, well, I like this jumper. It's nice, but I'm going to shop around your prices with other shops. And the shop assistant goes, what? What do you mean shop around our prices? You can't shop around our prices. And you think, oh, something's not right. And you discover, maybe you go and check, or you ask and they tell you that you can't shop around prices. You shop around for something, but shop around already means comparing price. So you can't say shop around your prices. Okay. So that situation gives you feedback. The other way to get feedback is when you expose yourself to English and you're listening to stuff, watching videos and reading, and you see the word again and again in different contexts. And each time you see the word in a new context, it reinforces your learning and deepens your understanding of how to use it, especially if you're actively noticing that, right? Making an effort to notice, oh, shop around. I learned that last week and here it is again. And just notice how it's used. Also, the fact that if you can learn vocabulary not only in reading, but in listening and watching, the different medium help you deepen your understanding. So that's it. It's the review is basically getting the feedback. What does this mean for you? I think it means that you must, as well as practice, you must expose yourself to the language as much as possible so that you can see the word in different contexts and different situations and deepen your learning. If you can get a teacher to give you feedback, that could be useful. Teacher correction is not always the best way because, as teachers know, students often don't listen to correction. They just carry on. So correcting only works if the student is ready, right? But there are other ways to get the feedback, and reviewing and exposing yourself to the language is a great way to do it. Great. So there it is. Discover, practice, and review. This cycle, when you're learning vocabulary, it's going on. And I think being aware of that and trying to do this is really useful. I guess one of the key messages is that when learning vocabulary, to not forget it, try and see or hear vocabulary in as many different ways as possible, different contexts, and try and use it in lots of different ways as well. This methodology, if you like, is a simplified version of the methodology I use in my online course, IELTS Speaking Success, Get a Band 7+ Gold. The methodology is the Speaking Success System, and it's a way that I use to help students learn vocabulary so they don't forget it. What they do is that they discover the language through the model answers in the course. They're then practicing chunks, like changing different parts of the sentence with recorded videos, and I'm giving them prompts and the answer as well. They can practice in breakout rooms. So that's real-time breakout rooms online with other students in very small groups. And they can review the language with quizzes. We have mini stories to help see the language in different contexts. All of that to help you learn vocabulary so that you don't forget it. Do remember, it takes time, right? It's not a line that you accumulate. It's not shopping. It's building up all these little circles over time with patience and practice. So be patient, be curious, notice things, and remember to be a detective. You have to decide if it's worth investigating a word and then how best to investigate the word so you can learn about it in a deep way. Nice. Listen, if you've enjoyed this video, please do subscribe and turn on notifications. And if you like this, then I think you should watch the next video coming up, which will show you how to think in English. Oh, and by the way, if you want a summary of this with some extra examples so you can start practicing and developing this habit to help you learn vocabulary and not forget it, download this free PDF. Just click on the link in the description below. You just exchange your email and I will give you the PDF for free. If you give me your email, you can also get more free lessons, resources, and other things that will help you on your journey to learn English, develop your speaking skills, and if you're studying IELTS, ace the IELTS speaking test. Take care, my friend. Bye-bye.